You are now tuned in to The Money Zone with your host, Folasade, the accountant for entrepreneurs. The time is now, your future waits, your money matters, make no mistake, it's not too late to dominate, so don't delay, get your money straight. The money zone, together we'll achieve your goals. We're building wealth, you're not alone. So don't delay, get your money straight.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's your girl, Folasade, the accountability accountant, guys. And I know you probably been wondering, like, where have I been? Like, honestly, guys, it's been a lot going on. Trying to scale the business, end of the year tax extensions. It's just so much going on. But last week we had a special guest for you, Ronda Brunson. She had a family emergency that she had to attend. And because I didn't put content together for you guys, I just didn't want to come up here and wing it, right, last week. So that's why I canceled last week's show. But we are excited because she's been able to come and grace our presence today, guys. So if you've been wondering how to use credit to build generational wealth, if you've been curious about how to utilize your credits, that you need to tune into tonight's show. So I need you guys to do me one quick favor. Go ahead on and like this video. Like the video, share the video with all of your friends, your biz besties, your girlfriends. And then I need you to do me one favor. Grab your libations or your water or whatever you drink, girl, and your notepad and your pen or your iPad or whatever you take notes on. Because we're going to be dropping a lot of gems tonight about finances, financial literacy, credit, wealth generating, building wealth, all of that, all of the stuff that you guys been Googling and, I've been talking about lately. So we have the amazing Ronda Brunson in the building. So guys, do me one favor. We're going to take a quick little break, right? Do as I ask, grab your pen, your paper and stuff, guys, and then share the video. And then we will have our guests and we'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome. So hopefully you've taken a minute, grabbed your notepad, look, and your pens, because I told you guys you're going to be dropping some gems. Okay, did I just do? Okay, okay. All right, so let me get right into this thing. Okay, guys, so we have the credit queen in the building, Miss Ronda Brunson, guys. So let me just formally introduce her. Okay, so Ronda has over 15 years of experience in the credit industry. Okay, her first introduction into the world of credit was as a manager for Cellular One, the singular wireless company. Okay, that's when she started understanding the importance of your social security number and witnessed individual people with bad credit, how they had higher deposits, how their response was on the phone, just the disrespect that you received. Got your little stuff in order. She experienced it hand one-on-one behind the scenes. Look, she was probably the one, y'all, throwing a little shade. It's like, no, but guess what? So at Singular Wireless, Ronda obtained employment at NCO Financial Systems, a large collection firm where she continued to acquire knowledge about the financial industry. There, she witnessed firsthand how not paying your bills could potentially be devastating and even have legal effects on your credit report and in your life in general. Ronda gained this priceless experience, and she continued to build up her credit industry resume. In 2004, Ronda became a certified credit counselor for the state of Maryland and started working with Debtscape. Debtscape was a nonprofit organization that provided credit counseling and placed consumers on debt management plans. Oh, that's good, Ronda. In 2007, she began working in the collections department for Toyota Financial Services. This is where she developed and fine-tuned her customer service skills. In 2008, Ronda, along with her partner, Stephen Foreman, created S. Foreman and Associates, SFA, a credit restoration business located in Baltimore, Maryland. SFA has helped thousands of people work nationwide, purchase homes, cars, obtain loans, and improve their overall financial portfolios. In 2011, Ronda also served as Director of Community Involvement for the Katie Abel Foundation, a nonprofit organization based in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area designed to help those in need get back on their feet by teaching them financial literacy. In 2014, this ambitious entrepreneur revamped SFA as Miss B Credit Queen when her partner decided to focus more on auto dealerships and property management. Guys, can you help me welcome Ms. Brunson to the Money Zone, the credit queen? Thank you so much, Ronda, for joining us this week. And I hope that your fiance, your boyfriend was able to, get everything taken care of and you are rocking it out. Look, guys, she was even early today. So Trump, when I came in, Trump was like, oh, no, she here. I was like, yes. So we are about to go right in. So let me ask you just a quick question before we go into like the wealth builder stuff. So what is your initiative, Restore Be More?
Okay, so I own 3 financial firms. I own 4 financial firms, but I own 3 financial firms. So the first is Miss Brunson Credit Queen, which primarily focuses on individual credit, home ownership. The second is Miss B Financial Firm, which allows people to duplicate my program in different states, so you would become a Ronda. And then also my nonprofit is Project Restore Be More. The goal is to slow gentrification through home ownership and allow minorities an opportunity to be at the table. So we want to help as many minorities as we can purchase homes, whatever we can do to make that dream a reality for them.
Oh, wow. I love it. I love it. So I would love to hear a little bit more after the show about Restore Be More, because we're local, so this is exciting to see. You have so much going on. So let's get right into the business. Would you prefer me to call you the Credit Queen or Miss Bronson? Because I didn't call you. I like all of the names. Once I start using the name, I like it. So which one would you prefer? Anyone?
Whatever, Ronda,
okay.
Miss B, whatever, Queen. I answer everything.
Okay, perfect. Look, Miss B, the credit queen. Can I just say, when when was the first time where you just realized that credit was king?
Cash is king, credit is queen. One.
Cash is yes.
Credit is queen. Well, I mean, I think that was back. It wasn't then. So my experience with credit is interesting because I did not start linking everything until later. So even with my extensive resume in different fields, those things just had to do with debt. I was doing debt management plans. I was helping people with their collection debt, but I didn't start linking or noticing the importance of credit really until after 2008. And that is because the market fell. So in 2004, just because I had a car loan that was paid on time, my credit scores were like 780. But now it's twice as difficult to get a 780 score because we're in an entirely different market where credit controls everything. So part of the reason that the market fell was because credit did not have a great importance. You could buy a house with a zero credit score. Didn't matter. After that is when credit became more important. I think I'm frozen. You're frozen.
Okay, guys. So look, technical difficulties. Look, forgive us. So we were going right into, so let me just rephrase the question just so it was very clear, because I don't even think you may even heard me or I even stated it clearly. In your personal life, when did you realize that credit is queen?
Right. So what I was explaining, it wasn't until after 2008. Credit really was not all of that important until the market fell. Prior to, or up until that point, you could buy a house with a zero credit score. You didn't need a lot of history. None of that mattered. So my experience up until 2008-ish primarily was in the land of debt, not credit. So credit didn't become important to me until later.
Wow. And you know what, guys, she's right on target, because that's around when the housing crash, like just so much happened. I even let go my real estate license at that time because clients were hard-headed, still wanted to buy. So yes, I fully agree with her. Okay, so in terms of like the millennials right now, they're starting the businesses, they're going out, they're trying to develop their portfolios and build credit. What do you see as one of the biggest issues or strains that millennials are having when building their credit?
I think everyone has the same issues when it comes to building your credit. Not necessarily, it's not broken down by age. We all face the same things. I think that sometimes we overshoot. So if you know that you have limited credit experience, especially as to what is relating or reporting on your credit report, maybe you shouldn't apply for Citibank or American Express. I can't say that they're having an issue when applying. I can say that they're having an issue with management and understanding how credit truly works. So credit is not anything where they give you $500 and the expectation is that you spend it. Credit is that they give you $500 and the expectation is that you show restraint and self-control. And I think that's where we suffer, because we're in a society where everything is right now, right now, right now. Get what you want, look amazing, but your bank account doesn't matter, or your tax statements don't matter, or your credit doesn't matter. As long as you look a look, where with my company, I'm geared more towards not how you look, but how you feel. So beyond your credit score, we go into the actual story that your credit report is telling. That's what controls approvals.
Oh, wow. So I always say in accounting, I use your financials to tell your story, your money story about your business. And I've never heard a credit girl or credit person say they use the credit to really tell, oh my goodness. So guys, so just look at what Ms. Bronson just said. She said she look at your credit and it tells her story. So what story right now is your credit showing? Is your credit showing that you're always late, that you're not responsible? What exactly does that number show? So for the people that may not understand really what credit is, if we could just take here,
Yeah, I was.
If we could just take a step back and go ahead.
It's not the number, so I don't want anyone to be so fixated on the score. The score does not dictate the story. So your credit score basically tells banks how risky you are. If you're a person that overspends, the bureaus drop your scores to warn other banks not to do business with you. But it's always in the method, not the score. A score is so different. There's no thing as a true score. No two sites are going to have the same scores, because scores are relative to whatever you're applying at that time. Trying to get the analogy that I created is, if you ask 3 different people about me or 3 different people about you, someone may say, oh, I really love her. Someone will say, she all right. Somebody say, I don't like it at all. But that's what credit scoring is. So we don't get so fixated on the score. You can, an 800 person can be denied and a 580 can get everything they want. It is the story that your credit report is telling. It has nothing to do with the credit score.
Okay, guys. So she just said, don't get fixated on the number. Okay. Focus on what the story says. Okay, so in respects to that, so can you give our audience an example of what you mean by what did the story say? Like, is it you're late or irresponsible? Can you just give us an idea of a line item that can show a downfall or a sad part of the story?
You don't have to be late. It doesn't have to be traumatic. It just has to be some type of fluctuation in whatever your overall behavior is. So if I have a $500 credit card and I am keeping the balance at $250, I am telling the bank that I'm high risk, because why on earth would it take me a long time to pay $250 back? That's your story. If you have, and people always, oh, can you delete these inquiries? No, but can you not get any more? We can work on that. But let's say that you have 15 inquiries in a year. You're showing that you're desperate. Why are so many banks, or why are you going to so many places to try to get approved for something? That's a part of your story. Or the amount of student that you borrowed versus how much you owe. If I can see that you borrowed 10,000, but the balance right now is 27, I know that you're not paying your balances down. That goes into your story. So it's always the story in the report, never the score.
Oh my goodness. Look, Ms. Bronson just said those inquiries, guys, especially if there's a lot of them, can show desperation. Why are you trying to get so much credit? What is the urgency? This is amazing. So guys, look, I have my notes. I'm taking my notes, guys. You all need to be taking your notes and then getting over to Instagram and follow the Credit Queen. I think, let me look at the Instagram really quick, because you dropping some gems already. Because those that you think are harmless, they're telling a story. They're telling a story of desperation. Oh my goodness. Okay. So now look, I'm learning, y'all. Look, I'm not a credit expert. They never think an accountant, okay, is a credit expert. I am not. This is not my lane at all. So this is why we have experts like Ms. Bronson on the show to clarify some things, drop you guys some gems, and give you guys the information that you all need. Okay. So in terms of this generational wealth, can you give me an example of how individuals may use their credit to build generational wealth?
You can't. And I don't know why that's such a thing. I keep hearing that. This is my 4th radio show I've been invited on to talk about generational wealth and credit. They don't really mix. Credit has to do with debt and accountability. Wealth is about cash and assets. So it's I guess I could see it if I was using my credit to maybe finance a home and then figure out how I'm going to expeditiously pay it off, deed it to someone else in my family, and then go on to the next house. That I can understand. You can't really leverage credit. It's never a good idea because you can't sustain decent credit without cash. Those two things go together. So when people say, I'm out of work right now, I need a loan, that is very scary because you still need money to repay that loan. So those two things, they can kind of run parallel, but they very seldom intersect because one is debt and one is asset.
No, I totally agree. And the reason why I asked that question was because I'm seeing those type of strategies. Oh, well, buy this house, flip this deed, like on Instagram and everywhere else. So I have to ask for the people because these are the questions that I get now, and this is not my lane. So in that case, how do you feel about all of those strategies and means and things of those natures that they say leverage your credit? How do you feel, Ms. Bronson, about that?
Yeah, I'm not tuned in. I don't see them. It's interesting, and this is going to sound so braggadocious, but I don't follow those pages. Those pages follow me, so I don't know what they're talking about on there. And my clients, if people follow me now, they already know through my stories and through my my IGTVs. I don't talk about that because those things don't make sense. It's about how well you can sustain yourself, right? That's what credit is. The history is telling a story of substance. How long have I been exhibiting good behavior? The more that you add to this report, the higher your risk and the more financially you're responsible for every month. So you can do it. You can leverage in some way. However, if the wind blows, then what? If you finance 4 mortgages and we hit a corona time and your tenants aren't paying, then what? You know what I mean? You still have to have an escape route. And in some cases, an escape route would be bankruptcy for sure. But then if that's not something that you can do, let's say that you have too many assets and that's not on the table. Now we got to figure out with money how to get you out of this debt problem. So those two things technically do not go together. And it's a really high risk situation if you start leveraging credit for quote unquote generational wealth. That's not generational wealth to me. Like my family owns land. That's generational wealth. You know what I'm saying? If a store or bar, that's generational wealth. That's something that we can pass on from generation to generation. I have no intention to pass on my credit cards to anybody in my family. It doesn't make sense. I'm not adding debt to you.
Okay, guys. So let me take a step back with Bronson. You over here killing it. I'll be honest with you. I'll take my little notepad over here. I'm trying to keep up myself. Okay, so Ms. Bronson just said, guys, that the more that you add to your credit report, the more you become high risk. So like all of those inquiries, remember those inquiries is a form of desperation, right? Now, the more that you add on, you become more high risk. And she just said something that was very true. And I'm a true believer of this. And I'm loving the fact that finally someone is saying this. You need some cash, okay? You need some cash to be able to pay the debt that you are acquiring, or to pay the mortgage that you're trying to get with the debt, or to pay that credit line that you're trying to get. Because I'm seeing so how do you feel about the trade lines and all of this stuff then that's online?
I like trade lines. I mean, but you can't plant roses in gardens of shit. So if your goal is to plant an American Express from 2007, but every relationship you personally have had with credit has been terrible, it won't work. Trade lines can only be used to influence a file that is willing to accept it. So I can add a trade line. For example, we just did this. I added a trade line to someone's credit file. Her scores moved 4 points at a $10,000 account. It is because the accounts that she had prior, the ones that she was using solely, have been so abused. If you have a limit of 1,000, and I think that what people don't realize is that when you apply for things, they can see your balance history for the last 24 months. There is no way to overpay a credit card. So if your limit's 1,000 and I see that you've made a payment of 2,000, that means that card was over the limit and you paid it off, right? But you didn't beat anything. They used to say if you pay it by the reporting date, we won't see it, or we can still see it. So in scenarios like that, not only does that add to your risk, but when we try to bring in a pristine account with excellent balance history, it doesn't work. You can't plant roses in gardens of shit. The whole credit story has to make sense in order for the trade line to work. So can you buy one? Yes, but does it make you more approvable? No. So that's where that fixation with credit scoring goes. You can't say, I just want my score to be great, because great does not equal approvals. Approvals come from banks, and banks are approving a story. a story of consistency and stability.
You know what, Ms. Bronson? I'm telling you, I've been watching people for years. I have not heard it like this before. I have not heard it like this before. Guys, she says she approved.
I ain't going nowhere.
No, I'm telling you, man, I just get all this fluff and everything. And the last thing I want for my people is to get the fluff. So guys, you heard it free and clear. She says she recommends them, but it has to mesh with your story. If you've been making very poor decisions with your credit, haven't been paying on time, that trade line may not work for you. See, this is why just getting those trade lines is not the initial step. You need to go and talk with a consultant, a credit repair consultant like Ms. Bronson first before you jump out there, so she can see whether or not that is a strategy that you need to implement, okay, or that will work with your story. Go ahead, Ms. Bronson.
I'm not a credit repair person. I am a life changer, just so you know. My focus is not on repairing your credit, but it's repairing your life, trying to get you back on track so that you can understand where good credit can take you. Good credit can take you on amazing vacations. Good credit and financial behaviors can get you the house that you want. Good credit can move you out of town. Good credit can do a lot of things, but it's not just about, when people sit down with me, I'm not saying, what do you want your score to be? No, what are your goals? What are we doing? Are you trying to get out of debt? Do you need to buy a house? Do you need to buy a car? Do you need to buy a boat? You want a credit card? Like whatever it is, we're talking specifically about goal, not numbers and not credit. I'm talking about your life.
Look, okay, Shanaz, let me clarify this now. She is a life changer, and I'm going to be honest with you from a personal. Look, clarify. I'm gonna just say it now. She's a life changer, and from my personal experience with credit, I was never really that comfortable with it until I had to buy my house. Then I had to figure out how to so-called build my credit. So from your professional experience, when you're changing individuals' lives and you're helping them build their credit so they can live the life that they dream of, what will be one of the first steps that you recommend an individual take before they just jump out there and just paying for every program? And what will be the first step that you recommend them to take?
Yeah, I don't know. You might want to schedule a consult. So even when people call and say, how can you help me schedule an appointment? I got to see the report. I'm probably the only credit person that says, hey, you don't need me, do this. If a person does not need my service, I will still provide to them an outline in honor of the consult and the consultation fee. And then normally within 3 to 6 months, they're like, oh my God, my scores moved. Thank you so much. Because everyone does not need your service. So I can't tell them what the first step would be. I've never seen the credit report before. And your credit report is as unique as your fingerprint. So whatever I suggest to you, you may not suggest to, you know, your uncle, your husband, your mother. Like it would be totally different advice. I have to see the report in order to advise.
Okay. So first of all, before you guys get any advice from any credit bureaus, they need to have been seeing your credit report, okay? Because it's unique. It's just like your taxes. One tax strategy does not work for every individual. So while somebody else might get a $50,000 refund or owe $50,000, that is not your situation. It is unique, like she said, towards your fingerprint. So what we're going to do, guys, we're going to just give Ms. Bronson a little break, give myself a little break. And what we're going to have you guys do, share the video, go follow her on Instagram. And I did have her Instagram up. Give me 1 second. Her Instagram is Miss Bronson _credit queen. Miss Bronson _credit queen. BRUNSON. Guys, go ahead on over and follow her because they're asking on Instagram over here with your IG and stuff. Go and follow her, share the video, tell your friends we were learning the real gist about credit, not all of the fluff and everything that we want to hear. Guys, so tune in. Let us take a little quick break and we'll be right back.
Okay, they're back. I'll call you back, baby.
Hey guys, welcome back. Okay, so if you're just tuning into the Money Zone, we have Miss B, the credit queen, Miss Ronda Brunson in the building, guys. And she's basically debunking all of this mess that you guys be listening to, striving for, and really preparing a false sense of reality around on this Instagram, Facebook, social media realm. Okay. Ms. Bronson says she changed people's lives and she created a lifestyle for you, and she also said, okay, that you have to have some cash. And she don't recommend you just keep leveraging debt. Like you have to have some type of balance. So in that particular case, Ms. Bronson, what is that type of balance? So if a person, and I know you say you don't really deal, I just want to kind of get a people a logical example of how you're supposed to use your credit, because from what I see online and what I know my audience see and what they message me, it's so much mess that they've heard of, and I just would like for them to get the real, no fluff nonsense from you. So if someone made $100,000 a year, right? They have a 600 credit score, just a very minimum credit score, right? They haven't bought a house yet, but they're trying to buy a house, okay? Do you recommend them go and get credit cards or do any inquiries? If they were saying they want to buy they want to buy a house, they have a 600 credit score, would they just do a consult with you, have their credit report rolling before they go to the mortgage broker, or would they go to the mortgage broker, then come to you and get things going? What will be the first step if that was?
The first thing you have to understand is that the scoring is different. Your mortgage score will be different from whatever it is that you see. We also need to understand the time frame in which you're trying to buy the house, whether or not it's something that you can build organically or will you need assistance. If you are trying to buy a house within 6 months or less, I'm going to suggest that you go through the mortgage person, because we need the mortgage report, not the consumer side, because our time frame is really small. Whenever someone's trying to buy in 6 months, we want to give. So if your time frame right now was February of 2021, I want to get you back to the lender no later than December. I want you to have 2 months to shop. So we have to look at it from that standpoint. I don't give advice like that. I'll make everybody schedule an appointment because I have to see the report. A person can make $100,000, have $300,000 in student loan debt and not be eligible to buy at all. It's the story. It's never the score. I got to understand whether or not that even works your goal. So for example, it was a husband and wife that was referred to me last week. They're looking to buy a property that's $500,000. The wife has $436,000 student loan debt on her own, right? Their total household income is $281,000. They have three $300 credit cards. One is charged off, two are maxed out. There's something wrong in their story. If you're completing an application and your household income is $281 and your credit card balances are maxed out, you don't have any disposable income, and it would make an underwriter question who you are. Do you really have money? And so my question is, sir, do you really have money? Like, where is it? Why is it that these two small accounts are maxed out? Because what you're telling the bank is that you have no cash flow. And it's difficult to understand that a person with $281,000 of income can have no cash flow. You have no savings. Why? So even with that part, when I'm strategizing with home or future homeowners, I'm considering the down payment. So if I say, great, you have a 700 credit score, but you have no cash, we can't buy no house with no money. We need money. Cash rules the world. Cash is king. Credit is queen.
And it's so funny that you said that, because on my conversation today with one of my clients, so this from the tax realm, I was like, okay, well, you know what? I just need you to focus on making more money, because I need that cash to be able to implement with some tax strategies. So like, so many people say, oh, I want to, save tax like the rich. I don't want to pay no tax, but they don't realize that they're using cash and their money to be able to play the game of taxes. And so in this particular case, she said the same thing, guys. You got to be able to have some type of cash. So for the people that don't understand, what is your definition of disposable income?
Anything left over where it's not assigned to a bill or a savings account. So, when you get paid, you're supposed to pay yourself first. So whatever amount you're going to put in your savings, and the rest of it goes towards your bill pay or whatever. Every dollar you have has a job. It's supposed to go somewhere. So when you're making money, this much goes to rent, this much goes to electric, this much goes to water, this much goes to savings. The disposable would be whatever's left over outside of those obligations. And most of us don't have that. I have changed the whole way I thought, because prior in 2015, I was hood rich. Okay. So I had a Porsche, BMW, couple Benzes, but I was in debt up to my eyeballs. It was terrible. I learned then that no matter what you had, because all of those things, for the most part, if they're financed, they don't belong to you anyway. So you carrying this car payment of $1,200 a month or $800 a month, that is a permanent debt that's going to last a certain period of time, in hopes that by the time it ends, whatever it is that you were paying for will belong to you. The question is it worth it? Because it is really impeding upon your disposable income. So now I'm smart. I got a cute little Benz. My car payment is only $400, and I send them $125 a week, and I pay all my bills are at least 3 to 4 months in advance. So because we are self-employed, we run a whole different risk gamut. And it's best to be ready, because if you get ready, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
You know what, guys? She said multiple things throughout this. She said, first of all, if you're trying to buy a home, you need to plan. It is nothing, because I'm talking to my clients now, especially my entrepreneurs. They don't realize that it takes some time, and they tell me, oh, I want to buy a house. And even from tax perspective, I don't even think that they're at the income where it might be even enough where they'll be satisfied with whatever house. So I'm also telling them to plan. Okay, well, if this is what you want to do, go and reach out to the person that's going to either be a realtor, your mortgage broker. Guys, you have to continuously plan in every respect that you do. If you're trying to buy a house, if you're trying to build credit, if you're trying to take that vacation, if you're trying to learn how to budget, whatever the case may be, you have to plan accordingly. And Ms. Brunson said you have to have some disposable income. And if any of you do not have any money left over after you get paid or after you get your income, your salary from your business or whatever the case may be, and you pay all of your expenses, if you don't have any money left over, then it automatically shows that you need to be cutting back on some things, either your extravagant lifestyle or those extra car notes or that high Amex card or whatever you're doing in your lifestyle. You need to start cutting back if you don't have any disposable income. And remember, earlier before the break, guys, she said the more and more lines on your credit report, the more and more riskier you become. And so when you're from your experience, how important is that utility rate, that utility percentage?
What do you mean? What utility percentage? Your gas, electric?
Utilization percent. Yeah, sorry.
And if you exceed it, you're at 90%, you're high risk automatically. If you go to buy a car and you tell the people that you make $100,000 a year and that you live at home with parents, you're doing that so that they trust you with more loan. They give you more money. It doesn't make sense when they look at your credit report and everything's charged off as a high balance. It plays against who you say that you are. So in 2017, the language became, are you a transactor or a revolver? A transactor is a person that swipes $500 and pays $500 back. A revolver is a person that swipes $500 and then gives them $50 a month as if they're doing them a favor. Think of it this way. If I gave you $500 at one time, do you think I want you to piece me my money back? No, I don't. I want it at one time. So when I receive the statement, that's when you're supposed to pay the balance in full. And if you do pay it early, you do avoid the added interest fee. I think that the problem with the messaging in our community, though, is that people think they're obligated to keep the balance at 30%. No, your balances can hit zero. My balance is always zero. It gives me room. And because of that, they want to entice me. They give me higher limits, or better banks start trying to get my attention. That's growth. These relationships that you start with Capital One, First Premier, those are starter relationships. If they've gone on 3 or 4 years and no one better has offered you anything, it's your behavior and you have to fix it.
Wow. Oh my goodness, Ms. Brunson. I just am so happy over here. Guys, she said, are you a transactor or a revolver? Okay. So are you leaving those balances? You and your girlfriend went out last week and you was pressed to get out. And you went to Fridays and you spent $150 showing off, and then you got the bill this month. Did you pay that $150 back, or did you leave it there and pay $20, girl? Which one you do, right? Okay, so so in your case, right, a transactor and a revolver. Like, honestly, guys, I think what she's basically saying is that you want to if you're going to spend something, have the capabilities to be able to pay it back. You understand? Don't just allow the payments to roll over month after month. And then she also said, if you've been with the company for years and years, you've been paying your stuff, right? And you haven't received any offerings or any additional credit opportunities, then that means your story isn't coming together. You need to take a step back and ask yourself, what are you doing right now that's not allowing you to achieve or be attracted to other creditors and other banks so they can give you some money? So your story isn't added up, okay? So we're about to get ready to go. Ms. Brunson, is it anything that you want to lead the people? Like I'll be talking about this conversation for days and days to come, because you debunk a lot of this nonsense that I've been trying to debunk for years and years, but credit is in my lane. So I stay in my lane, right? But now by you coming on the show, giving us the realness, no fluff, and I love it, no hold bars. And we're telling the people like, hey, you got to have some money to play in the game. Like, you're just changing the game for me. So is it anything that you would love to leave the audience with, and tell us what you got going on, and where we can buy your books and all of that good stuff.
Sure. So, I mean, if you follow me on Instagram, I do most of my releases there. I moved the start date for Project Restore Be More back to October the 15th. I don't know what's going on with this camera. To October the 15th, it'll run until December the 15th. I hope to have 2 books out in the middle of next year that you can buy. One is called The Black Girl's Guide to Credit, How We Treat Our Finances and Our Men the Exact Same Way. My dog is going through some changes. There's a lot going on in my house right now. I apologize. But just continue to follow my journey on Instagram. All of my releases and stuff happen there.
Well, thank you, Ms. Brunson. We really appreciate you gracing out your presence with us today. And thank you so much for dropping so many amazing gems, just telling the truth and just telling people, hey, it's a story, guys. And she's changing people's lives. She's just not giving y'all lines of credit and giving you a temporary credit boost. She's changed your guys' lives and showing you that it's a river that can flow so easily if you have the tools and the people that surround you. So, Ms. Brunson, I just want to say thank you so much again for being with us, and I will talk with you later.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Yes. Okay, guys. So that was a lot. Did you take some notes? Because I took a lot of notes, guys, and honestly, I learned a lot, because you all know from my experience, that's not my background. Credit is not my background. And the fact that what really intrigued me most out of this was how simple she made credit for me, how I interpret it. She's basically saying that every day, every transaction, every credit line that we have, whatever we have going on that impacts our credit, it tells the banks, it tells creditors, it tells your future husband, your future everybody, right? That this is who you are. This is your story. So like when you read a book and the story have a beginning, an ending, and a middle, okay, and a plot and all of that stuff, your credit also has that same story. So what does your story tell the lenders? Is the reason why you're not able to get loans is because your story doesn't add up? You jump from every credit program and try to get every trade line, and the story just isn't making sense. Like, guys, before you just jump out there, okay? So what we learned today is that before you just jump out there, you first need to have your credit report, right? But then also do a consult. So just like I always say with taxes, you can't just take what I say and apply it to your life, because it's unique to your lifestyle, your family, your income, and everything. And Ms. Brunson is saying the same thing for credit. It is unique towards you. So you cannot think that all of these strategies on Instagram and all of these posts, right, they're meant to attract you guys. They're meant to draw you in, right? No shame, nobody's marketing or whatever, but you can't use that as the bread and butter. You want to go and do a personal consultation with the individual that's going to change your life, okay? And that might be Ms. Brunson. So guys, go head over to Instagram, follow her, show her some love, and thank her for the information that she was able to give us today. And remember, okay, and I'm going to close out with one of the things that she said. She said, all of them inquiries, y'all, making you look desperate. So slow down, write down your plan, and figure out who do you need to align yourself with so you can achieve your goals and hopefully change your life. All right, guys. So that's it for the show for tonight. So I don't know. I think we have a show for next week. Trump, is the studio open? I think the studio's open next week. I may or may not go into the studio. I'll let you guys know over the next couple of days if I'm going to start going back into the studio. But guys, don't forget, like the video, share the video, tell people about the Money Zone, go and follow Ms. Bronson. But guys, look out. Okay, perfect. Yes, so we do have a show for next week. And so tomorrow we'll be talking about Trump and his $750 in taxes and all of that good stuff, guys. So I had an amazing show, and I will see you guys next week. Good night.